talking about supply and demand, cost analysis, and opportunity costs with offering extensions in the salon. First, we'll start with supply. There are many factors that can affect the supply of offering hair extensions. The first factor is location. For example, in my current area, almost every salon offers hair extensions, and there are thousands of salons. In my hometown, there were 2 salons. One stylist in town offered hair extensions. The population of salons as well as the population of people can make a big impact on the supply of stylists and the supply of clients available. The next factor is quality education. It's imperative that stylists are learning how to properly install, troubleshoot mistakes, and master techniques. We want the best for our clients and their business and referrals. A bad installation can damage the client's hair, cost you money, as well as cost you business. Bad installs equals bad for business. Human capital. Human capital falls hand in hand with quality education. Clients want and need someone who is skilled in their craft, especially when some clients pay thousands of dollars for their hair. The more heavily populated an area is, typically the more skilled labor is needed. If there is not a good supply of human capital, clients will go elsewhere. Ethical sourcing and sustainability. The demand for human hair has increased dramatically. Ethically sourced and sustainable hair can be expensive. Since this hair is coming from a single donor, there are issues that could arise, such as a shortage in donors, an increase in compensation to donors, or a price increase in an element of the collection process. This all can affect the availability of the supply of hair. You get what you pay for when it comes to hair quality. Hair should be collected in clean, hygienic methods while being respectful of clients' dignity and privacy. There should be transparency and traceability systems in place from donor to the final product. Unfortunately, not all hair is sourced ethically or sustainably. This could mean that child labor exploitation is involved, donors were not compensated fairly or consented to the donation process, or there could have been a low-quality, unhygienic process in obtaining the hair, such as picking loose hair up off the floor, placing the hair in acid baths to remove the cuticle. Unethically sourced hair and a low-quality system of collecting could result in hair that sheds easily or mats and tangles. This results in hair that does not last long and needs to be replaced sooner. Cheaper is not better. For more information about sourcing hair, I encourage you to watch Good Hair featuring Chris Rock. Having an effective management system will also prevent shortages. It'll help you work more efficiently, prevent overstock, and provide more convenient options for your clients. Having an inventory of hair is optional. It is more costly up front, but if your system is running effectively, you will recover your cost of the hair purchased efficiently. Next, we'll move on to demand. Factors that affect the demand of hair are seasonal trends such as weddings, proms, events, and clients who travel seasonally. In Florida, we call these clients snowbirds. Client income also plays a huge role in demand. If you're located in a community with low-income residents, the demand for services may not be as high. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you're located in a community where the residents have a higher income, the demand may be higher as clients have more of a disposable income. Consumer preferences also matter, such as length, method of application, and color choices. Some suppliers may not have as many choices as others. Some clients may prefer one method of application versus another that you may not offer. And finally, competition from other salons can affect the demand. The more salons that offer extensions, the more competition you may have. You should also be able to differentiate your brand to stand out from the crowd as well. Now we'll talk about cost analysis. To keep things simple, we will use the average price of salons in my area that charge for 3 rows of beaded weft extensions in the salon. First, we'll talk about startup costs. This is the expense of starting your business. On average, a quality education course is at least $1,000. I've seen classes advertised as low as $300 and as high as $5,000, but on average, they're about $1,000, and normally these classes will come with kits. If they don't, your kit along with other tools will run you about $100, give or take. We're keeping things simple in this example. Total startup cost is $1,100. Next, we move on to operating costs. These are expenses relating to the operation of your business. For the application method of beaded weft extensions, you'll need minimal supplies. Supplies range about $10. This includes beads, thread, needles, clips, combs, products, etc. Normally, the majority of this comes in kits from your education course. Maintenance is related to the upkeep of shears, hot tools, disinfectants, which brings our total operating cost to $15 maximum. Sometimes it will be slightly cheaper, but usually never over $15 per client. So now we'll look at income. We can make per visit per client. The client always pays for the hair up front. That way salons do not absorb the cost in case the client does not show up for the appointment. Hair is not typically bought for any maintenance move-ups unless the hair is terrible quality or a client does not take care of it. Hair is usually only purchased once a year, maybe even twice a year, depending on the client. However, we mark the cost up of hair by 20%. On average, a client will use at least $700 worth of quality hair. Some may use more, some may use a little less, but to keep things simple to calculate, the 20% markup on $700 worth of hair is $140. Next, we look at labor. As mentioned before, on average, each row costs about $175. We like to give ourselves an hour a row. Again, this all depends on your speed. This will include removing and installing the new row during maintenance move-ups, shampoo, condition, and blow dry. At 3 hours of labor at $175 an hour, we get $525 worth of labor. What this means is that an initial visit per client, this includes the 20% markup and the 3 hours of labor at $175 an hour, the client's paying $665. For a client's maintenance move-up per visit, this means they're not purchasing hair typically. It's the cost of 3 hours worth of labor, or $175 an hour, which is $525. So now we know our startup cost is $1,100, our operating costs are $15, and the total income from a client is between $525 and $665. Let's figure out our total revenue. We will subtract our total income from our total expenses and get $510 for a maintenance move-up and $650 for the initial install. Total revenue. How much would we make per year per client? Clients will be coming to you about 7 times a year. 1 initial visit, a buying hair, and the rest will be maintenance move-ups. How many extension clients would you need to make a livable wage? Now remember, this is how much revenue potential you can make just offering beaded weft hair extensions alone. Opportunity cost represents the desirable benefits someone forgoes by choosing one alternative instead of another. As a stylist, you're always aware that there's many variables when it comes to your profits, and predicting your profit can be very difficult. For the sake of keeping things rather simple, we will look at these as an independent stylist and analyze 3 different options. We'll start with the hairstylist only offering salon services without offering extensions. Typically, the appointment time is 2 to 3 hours. Income potential is $250 to $500 a day. You have maximum schedule flexibility because you can fit clients into smaller slots of time. You can double book them. You have more options for upselling, such as retail and extra services. And you do have more costly inventory as you need to keep everything in stock, such as your chemicals and your PPE. Then we'll move on to a stylist that offers extensions only, no color services. Appointment time is 3 to 4 hours, depending on your method. Your income potential changes from anywhere from $600 to $800 a day. Your schedule flexibility is limited as you cannot double book clients and you can only take one at a time, and the appointments will be longer, so there's less slots available for new clients. Regarding your inventory, again, keeping a stock of hair is optional, but you would be required to keep the supplies on hand as well as wash and styling products. Lastly, looking at combining color services with extensions, your appointment times are 4 to 6 hours as you'd be performing all of the services. Your income potential is $1,200 to $1,600 a day, depending on the type of color service and treatments. Scheduling flexibility, you have little to none. You will have fewer clients, but your clients will have higher service tickets. You'd be upselling retail and treatments mainly to clients, as clients would be exhausted being there all day, so they wouldn't upsell. You couldn't really upsell services. You'd have to have much more inventory on hand, such as extension supplies, styling and wash products, treatments for color services, and other chemicals and PPE. Now we'll look at the opportunity cost of offering separate appointments versus combined appointments. During separate appointments, you gain a higher number of clients as you'll be seeing more clients a day. You will have more scheduling flexibility and more upsell opportunities, but you will give up bundling a higher service ticket, client convenience of having services done in one place, and more revenue. During combined appointments, you will gain a higher service tickets, you'll maximize client convenience by being a one-stop shop, and gain a higher client retention. But you will have to give up your scheduling flexibility, your high number of clients, more opportunities to upsell services as clients will be there longer, and a limited weekly capacity to be able to accept clients. Thank you for watching. All sources are linked here for more information.